We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish.
So, who is the whore of Babylon that is also called Mystery Babylon in the book of Revelation? It will be made up of all the churches who don't have to get new pastors or priests after the rapture. You get my point?
The preceding program has been brought to you by the Jesuits, dedicated to destroying all temporal powers in the world, but the papacy in Rome. The C.I. Scofield Study Bible. When you need a delusion from a con man, remember C.I. Scofield's the one for you. The Freemasons. Worshipping the sun since the Tower of Babel. And the Vatican. Official sponsor of the Antichrist. We hope you have enjoyed this program created by Mystery Babylon Productions.
According to the Bible in Revelation chapter 18 and verse 23, Mystery Babylon is a term that refers to something that has deceived all nations. So that means also that Mystery Babylon, or spiritual Babelism, has been spread out across the earth, just as we read in Genesis 11. And in the very next verse we are also told that all the blood of the prophets and saints which were slain upon the earth are found in her, and this includes therefore the blood of righteous Abel in Genesis 4. This means that spiritual Babelism stretches back in time since the time of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. It is not something that will only exist after the magical secret rapture invented by Jesuit disinformationists and Freemasons. It exists today. And it existed even before this text was written for the book of Revelation in the 1st or 2nd century AD. However, just as the term Antichrist was used to refer to a type of many, but also the personification of just one, so too the term Mystery Babylon was being used to refer to a specific expression of it in the prophecy contained in the book of Revelation. Mystery Babylon is said to have a localized manifestation in one city which the author of Revelation was addressing. But it was one city which was also a global empire. There have been many empires throughout history, and there have been many cities. But there have not been an innumerable number of city-state empires. The Greek Empire was not, it was made up of an alliance of several cities. The same could be said of the Chinese Empire, the Japanese Empire, the British Empire, the Spanish Empire, and even the French Empire. And this includes virtually all today's modern empires from the former Soviet Union, to the European Economic Community, to what some today call the American Empire. These are, and were, all empires made up of an alliance of several cities, and even states. There have only been a small handful of city-state empires in the world in history. Babylon was just such a city-state empire. And the other, of course, was Rome. The author of this prophecy is prophesying a future event, but he makes it very clear that the empire he is specifically prophesying these things would happen to and through would be the city-state empire known in his own day, because he uses not a future tense, but the present tense when referring to it. The world is told that what Constantine embraced in Rome, in the Edict of Milan in 315 AD, was the religion of Christianity, the religion of the New Testament apostles and disciples of Christ. But we will find in the prophecies of Revelation, and throughout the rest of the New Testament itself, is that it was not Christianity that Constantine adopted, but Roman Nicolaitanism. And this form of religion was not indigenous to the New Testament, but constituted an imperial adoption of ancient Babylonian religion and ecclesiology. Thus, in other words, it made spiritual Babylon a state religion of the Roman Empire, in the name of Christ. But it was not the Christ of the Bible. It was a fictitious Christ crafted together with all the parts of Rome's pagan imperial and state cult religion. A mixture the author of the book of Revelation referred to as, quote, Mystery Babylon, end quote. The church-state governments of Europe that are the legal benefactors and theological descendants of Constantine's institutionalization of Nicolaitan religion, have worked incessantly since the time of the Reformation, spending literally billions of dollars and using infiltration and censorship to extinguish the public knowledge of the truths concerning Mystery Babylon, in an attempt to avoid spiritually implicating their own governments. All of the New Testament teaching concerning Mystery Babylon, or spiritual Babylism, is taken from the Torah and are found in Genesis 3, 6, 10, and 11. These chapters serve as the foundation for the term Mystery Babylon used in the prophecies contained in the New Testament book of Revelation. To understand spiritual Babylism or Mystery Babylon, all one must do is look at the development of Babylon in the Old Testament, and see the parallels the author of the New Testament prophetic term, Mystery Babylon, was invoking. They are very plain to see. That is why so much effort by certain groups, organizations, and even church-state governments, which have embraced spiritual Babylism, have put so much effort into obfuscating and hiding them. and the effort to obfuscate, hide or even discredit them, is much larger than most could possibly imagine. Spiritual Babelism is the ignorant Nicolaitan belief that the secret to Genesis 11 is that if man reproduces the depraved patterns of Babelism he can secretly be God. Babelists hide this ideology in secret societies and occult rituals beyond the reach or criticism of the general public they wish to exploit as their victims. But Nicolaitan Babelists completely ignore the most important aspect of the text in Genesis. While it does state that they were making themselves God over people, the text also states that because of this the real God placed a curse on them. Because spiritual Babelism is premised on a lie, which is calling something which is an opposite to God, God. When God is manifested it also therefore manifests the exact opposite of what it claims or seeks to do. The curse of spiritual Babelism is it actually eventually manifests the exact and precise opposite of whatever it wills or seeks to do. The exact and precise opposite.
The Tower of Babel was not a round tower, but a square structure rising in stages, probably about 100 meters high, as seen as the royal procession began to climb the tower, climbing to the blue temple at the summit, the temple of Marduk, god of the city. Herodotus reported that climbing to the temple of Marduk meant climbing into the heavens and the stars, and at the top, in the highest section of the huge layered temple, was where Marduk resided.
Text of the Babylonian account of creation reads, quote, "When Yah saw him, the Father who begot him, he exulted and glowed, his heart filled with gladness. He rendered him perfect and endowed him with a double Godhead. Greatly exalted was he above them. He was the loftiest of the gods, surpassing was his stature, his members were enormous, he was exceeding tall. My little son, my little son, my son, the sun, son of the heavens, clothed with the halo of 10 gods, he was strong to the utmost, as their awesome flashes were heaped upon him. Anu brought forth and begot the fourfold wind, consigning to its power the leader of the host." End quote.
present Bishop Jeremiah J. Park, Bishop of the New York Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. Your Holy Holiness, may I present Reverend Wesley Granberg Michelson, the General Secretary of the Reformed Church in America. Your Holiness, may I present Reverend Dr. Clifton Kirkpatrick, the stated clerk of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church in the United States. Your Holiness, may I present Reverend Dr. William J. Shaw, President of the National Baptist Convention, United States. Your Holiness, may I present Bishop James Leggett, General Superintendent of the International Pentecost Holiness Church. Your Holiness, may I present Dr. Leith Anderson, President of the National Association of Evangelicals. Your Holiness, may I present Bishop David H. Benke, President of the Atlantic District of the Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod. Your Holiness, may I present Reverend Dr. A.R. Bernard Sr., President of the Council of Churches of the City of New York. Your Holiness, may I present the Right Reverend Mark Sisk, Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of New York.
Now, did you just say that you are Lucifer?
I am Lucifer.
Okay, define Lucifer for me.
Pure, virtuous, wholesome, innocent individual that's out to help people.
Lucifer is? Say that again. Lucifer is a pure, holy,
Virtuous.
virtuous. Now, is he the Lucifer that God created?
That's the same one. I am Lucifer. I am Lucifer. I am Lucifer.
Roman Catholic clergy began identifying the Vatican and its institutionalized Nicolaitanism as the whore of Babylon centuries before the time of the Renaissance reformers. Most people today, when they hear this phrase, think of it as simply some kind of Protestant insult against the Catholic Church. This common misconception is a testimony of the success the Counter-Reformationists have had in literally brainwashing the public, and suppressing centuries of Western European history. The phrase, "the whore of Babylon," is a technical phrase that refers to the fulfillment of a prophecy in the book of Revelation concerning a counterfeit religion which was prophesied to come in Christ's name and eventually dominate the Roman Empire. Protestants did not call the Roman Catholic Church the whore of Babylon. Roman Catholic clergy called it that, and began warning both the kings and people of Europe it was endangering their salvation. But before reformers began calling it that, and even before concerned Roman Catholic clergy began calling it that, Rome itself called its own church the whore of Babylon, thinking it was a secret wisdom. In 1945, a collection of writings now known as the Nag Hammadi Library from the St. Pachomis Monastery were found. St. Pachomis was the founder of Catholic monasticism. These writings had been hidden in the cliffs of a nearby mountain, for which these caves had served as a cemetery for the monks of the monastery. James Robinson, a scholar who worked on the recovery, collection and publication of the manuscripts, stated in the foreword of the first edition of the Nag Hammadi Library the following. Quote, "The care and religious devotion in the manufacture of the Nag Hammadi Library hardly suggests the books were produced out of antagonism, but rather reflect the veneration accorded holy texts. Desert ascetics during this period were believed to have miraculous powers, and their word and judgment were considered as those of God himself." Augustine, in his famous book, The City of God, refers to these very same desert ascetics from the exact area the Nag Hammadi texts were discovered, and states the following. Quote, "Theodosius sought the advice of John, a servant of God who lived in the desert of Egypt. Popular opinion has it, and he had heard, that this man possessed the gift of prophecy." End quote. It was these quote desert fathers end quote who were the theological architects of the new emerging religion of the Byzantium Empire, known today as Roman Catholicism, which is another religion apart from Christianity, and thus why its distinction in name. Several centuries after the reformers had made the discovery that the Church of Rome was the whore of Babylon prophesied in the scriptures, these texts were uncovered by archaeologists. They document the fact that the earliest architects of Rome's new religion were teaching a form of occult monism that later in history became the basis for virtually every major secret society in Western civilization, from the Rosicrucians to the Freemasons to the Jesuits. They taught that opposites were secretly the same thing, meaning that both Christ and Antichrist were the same. And, they also taught, that the whore of Babylon prophesied in the scriptures by the apostles of Christ, was to be the same thing as the church. The Roman Church. Not only did it synthesize Christ with the Antichrist in the form of the papacy, but it also synthesized the Roman Church with the whore of Babylon, intentionally adopting patterns prophesied in scripture concerning the Antichrist and the whore of Babylon within the Roman Church, by design and with full intent. The post-Desert Father period of ecclesiology demonstrates that Rome did in fact take these instructions and intentionally implement them into the design of their new religion. Three very apparent examples of this intentional synthesis can be found in adoption of the worship of Apollyon on December 25th as a Christ Mass. No real Christian would have ever agreed to such an overt synthesis with what had been spelled out in the New Testament as literally the worship of the devil, in Revelations chapter 9 verse 11. The second example of this synthesis can be seen in the fact that the next Pope of Rome after Augustine's own writing was a Pope literally by the name of 3 sixes, Pope Sixtus III, which is literally Latin for sixth three. Yet, you can see from history, this name with its 3 sixes were not only embraced, and made Pope, it was done so without a slightest official controversy. And a third example can be seen in the adoption of forms and rituals. From the mark on the forehead with the ash of the azazed goat, prophesied to be the mark of the beast given by the Antichrist to his followers, to the use of garlands to decorate the churches on December 25th. At that time in history, garlands were used to decorate broths. Or in other words, whorehouses. Rome not only called itself secretly the whore of Babylon, but intentionally adopted every design they could find to make sure the patterns of the whore of Babylon were fulfilled.
my point? You get my point? You get my point? You get my point?